here's where the fun begins. Goodbye, beautiful campsite. It all kind of hinges on this spot right here.
That's going to be a real challenge with the canoe.
I actually see whitecaps out there.
Well, as expected, that is a long portage.
Best time of the year, the best weather.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's nothing like it.
What is that weird line in the sky? If I ever get the opportunity to do that again, I will take it in a heartbeat. Good morning. Slept quite well under the tarp last night.
So today what we're going to do is we're going to paddle around to the south end of Long Pond and kick off the day with the longest portage of the trip from Long Pond to Floodwood Pond. This is 1,373 meters, which works out to over 8/10 of a mile, which is pretty rough, but if everything goes to plan, it should be the last portage of the trip. Now, once we're in Floodwood Ponds, what I'm hoping will happen is we'll just paddle around here, and then we'll be able to navigate this small channel into Little Square Pond. If we're able to do that, then there's a few campsites on Little Square Pond. There's two on the north shore here. There's one right by the mouth of that narrow creek, and then there's another one down on the south end here. And we'll try to land here for tonight. That'll set us up for a pretty easy day tomorrow, where we'll continue down Fish Creek, down and around here, up this inlet and back to our car here. I'm really hoping this route works out, because if it doesn't, that's an extra 3 portages. I'd like to avoid that, but it all kind of hinges on this spot right here. We'll see what happens.
It's relatively calm here in this secluded cove, but I don't know how it's going to be on the larger part of the lake.
Goodbye, beautiful campsite.
Slightly later start this morning than yesterday. It's about 9:45 now, but I was really enjoying myself watching the sunrise over our little cove here. So we're gonna head out of this cove into the main lake, head around to the south end, and start that nice big portage. Looking forward to it. This was a gorgeous spot. Coming around the corner to the south side of the lake now. Nice campsite in there, number 5.
Canoe carry to Floodwood Pond. Here's where the fun begins. These portages have all been really beautiful, at least. Pretty cool beaver dam here. Nice boardwalk too. Some really massive trees in this section. Well, as expected, that is a long portage. Not only is it long, but it's also quite difficult. There's a lot of undulations in the trail throughout. Not really an issue with the gear, but that's going to be a real challenge with the canoe. Anyway, we started around 11. It's just before 11:30 now. If I'm on the water by 12:30, I'll be happy. Well, we made it to the boardwalk in one go. Took about 35-40 minutes. Nearly 1,400 meters of portaging behind us, and with any luck, 0 in front of us. It's a little premature to celebrate. We still have to see how that creek is going to be, but I'm feeling optimistic. And at the very least, the longest portage of the trip by far is behind us.
How's the trip?
Awesome. This is day 3 for me.
Wow. Where have you been? Where did you start?
I started at Follinsby Clear Pond.
Yeah.
And then went up, spent my first night at Hole Pond. And then yesterday I went across Turtle Pond, Slang Pond, slept at Long Pond. And today I just got from Long Ponds, and I'm gonna head a little bit down and then I'll get back out tomorrow.
Out to Rollins, or are you going down to Fish Creek?
Down Fish Creek.
Sounds like a nice trip.
It's been gorgeous. The weather's been amazing.
Yes, the best time of the year, the best weather.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's nothing like it.
You have a great day.
Oh, you too.
Thank you. Moment of truth in a moment here. Well, with that, we made it into Little Square Pond. That truly was best case scenario. There were no non-navigable obstacles along that entire creek. There's a couple of sites right behind me here, but the wind continues to be really strong out of the west. So I'm gonna head for the southern
I actually see whitecaps out there. It's pretty strong. It looks much calmer ahead, so I think we're making the right choice here. There's more of those cool yellow-orange trees we saw between Turtle and Slang Ponds through here. It's absolutely beautiful. This is the creek I was looking for. This goes into another pond. According to the map, the campsite I want is right across from this. I think I see the sign right around this corner. Yeah, tons of wood too. That's awesome. Wow. There's a whole wide open spot back here. I guess if the wind got too rowdy, I could hide in here. It's 1:50 p.m. and the nice thing about tonight is I don't have anything else to do. So I'm just gonna gather wood, get myself set up for tonight, and then probably spend a little bit more time in that hammock. Not bad. That was at 0 when I plugged it in after the Portage. Maybe somewhat excessive, but it was all just laying around. Plus, it's my last night here, so it would be nice to have a big fire and stay up late. Maybe got a little carried away here, but we definitely have plenty of wood. I didn't even touch that third log. I have neither the energy nor the desire, so this will have to do. Probably don't need that much, but it's my last day and I don't want to bring any back. This trip has been full of firsts for me. For example, it's my first time in the St. Regis Canoe area, It's the maiden voyage of my new North Star B16 canoe. It's been doing great, by the way. This is also my first ever multi-day solo paddling trip, and the first time that I've ever paddled and camped this late in the season. Stars are beautiful tonight. The amount of natural beauty I've witnessed this year is just staggering. It started off all the way back in January, snowboarding down through a cloud inversion on Sugarloaf Mountain. That was a really cool and unique start to the year. Then a few months later, I got to witness the total solar eclipse, which was just absolutely unforgettable. Just a few weeks after that, I flew to Thailand, spent a week in Bangkok, and then another 5 days in Phuket. Did a boat tour, saw all the islands during sunrise. And then not long after that, we started hiking the Adirondack high peaks, which was another new area for me. So many beautiful sights and scenes up there. My favorite by far was the McIntyre Range. Just this enormous alpine zone, Algonquian Summit being the second tallest peak in New York, just behind Mount Marcy. Really, really difficult hike, especially adding Marshall onto all of that, but I'm still proud of what I managed to achieve that day. Later on in August, we went to Montana. It was my first time there. Camped out on a turquoise blue reservoir surrounded by mountains. Saw so many incredible sunrises and sunsets. And did so many amazing things during the few days that I spent there, but most notable was riding a motorcycle I rented side by side with my little brother down off of Logan Pass in Glacier National Park during sunset. And the fall season this year has been particularly noteworthy. For me, it really started with a motorcycle ride that I did up to northern New Hampshire with my dad and a few of his friends. And that was really just at the start of the foliage season. And then I went out and hiked Franconia Ridge, hiked up through another cloud inversion, and got that sort of half clouded, half clear effect with the ridge being the dividing line as I walked along it. And then just last weekend, I was up in Baxter State Park. It's definitely not the first time I've been up there. It's not even the first time I've been up there in October. But it is the first time I've ever seen ice up on top of Katahdin. I've been up Katahdin 4 times, and I've been up there in October 3 times, but that's the first time I've ever seen that. This was a total last-minute plan of mine. Originally, I was going to do a trip down the Androscoggin with a few of my friends, which is just a simple little overnighter with paddle boards, but life and everybody's schedules and kind of last minute didn't work out, but the weather was just so great this weekend, I couldn't pass it by. And I had this brand new canoe sitting in my garage. I bought this canoe 2 weeks ago. Hadn't really gotten to use it yet, so came up with the idea on Thursday, had a plan by Friday, and left Saturday morning. And for such a briefly planned trip, I could not have asked for more. And the year's not over. If the weather keeps up like this, I'll keep going out. And at the very least, I'm going to be spending a week in Jamaica in mid-November, so actually less than a month from now. That's coming up. So still a lot more left to do, a lot more left to see. I just enjoyed an incredible stroke of luck. I had gone down by the river to filter some water because I ran out after I made dinner. And the stars are gorgeous, so I shut my headlamp off and I was admiring the Milky Way. And then I noticed off to the right, I thought, what is that weird line in the sky? And then I remembered that social media has been blowing up lately about that Atlas comet. And it was tough to see just with my eyes, so I went down and grabbed my camera, and sure enough, clear as day. So add yet another first for this trip. That's the first time I've ever seen a comet like that. Aside from some clouding this morning, it's been basically blue sky since I set off. So tonight I'm going to try something that I've always wanted to try, but was never brave enough to, which is camp out in the open under the stars. It always sounds like a cool idea, but weather is usually so unpredictable that the risks outweigh the benefits. But I've been checking the weather the whole time I've been out here, and it hasn't been changing, and there's 0% chance of rain tonight. So if ever there was a chance to do it, it would be now. Temperature's 45 degrees, not too cold. Sleeping out under the open sky like that was a seriously freaking cool experience. If I ever get the opportunity to do that again, I'll take it in a heartbeat. So, I was thinking about the first day when we launched on Follinsby Clear Pond at that dock. That seems like it was weeks ago. But I think that's why, or at least it's one of the reasons why, I like camping and traveling so much. It makes relatively short periods of time feel really significant. Like at home, you wouldn't notice 3 days going by, but out here, 3 days seems like an eternity. And I think over time, it makes life feel a little bit longer. You know, like I remember back in the pandemic when we were locked down, an entire year just flew by. And I look back now and I have no real references or milestones to refer to, and so an entire year basically faded into obscurity. Whereas this year, I was reminiscing a little bit last night, this year felt long, and I think it's because I have so many points in the year that I can look back on and say, oh yeah, I did this, and then I did this, and I saw all these things, and I had all these experiences. I think that's part of why I keep coming back out. Now today is actually going to be a little bit different than the rest of the trip because it's going to be mostly a paddle down the Fish Creek, which is kind of neat. It'll switch it up from all the pond traverses we've been doing up to this point. We're going to head down Fish Creek into Square Pond, continue under this bridge into the Fish Creek ponds, and then into this connector back to the car here. And with that, camp is back as it was. I did take that third log that we didn't cut up last night and just dragged it back in the woods for someone else to find and use if they so choose. Before I go bopping down the rest of Fish Creek, I actually want to check out, there's a pond right across over here. I think it's called Coparis Pond. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but the inlet's right across from camp over here, so just figured I'd check it out while we're here. So the inlet's over there. There is a campsite right in front of us, and then one back on the edge over there. Either of these sites, especially the south-facing site, certainly would have sufficed if our site didn't work out. let's move on. Onward now down Fish Creek. Wow. I think those were otters. That's incredible. I've never seen them before. Not in the wild, anyway. Not sure what this is all about. Maybe they're catching all the surface debris? Don't actually know. I guess that means we're now in Square Pond, so I gotta go out around this side under a bridge. That's Route 30 right there, into the Fish Creek ponds, and then follow that across into the inlet back into Follansbee Clear Pond. And then we're home free. Whoa. And there it is, Follansbee Clear Pond. So this wasn't a particularly long trip in terms of mileage. The total distance was only about 12 to 15 miles. But in many cases, such as this one, mileage and distance don't tell the whole story. In total, we got to traverse and explore 11 different ponds, plus the beautiful Fish Creek. On top of that, we did 5 different portages, 2 of which were over 1,000 meters, and even managed to squeeze in a hike. Now, and especially after this trip, I'll definitely be looking for more opportunities to enjoy the outdoors in the late season.